So when your spousal sponsorship application is in its final stages, then based on the class that you applied under, you will either get a passport request or a portal invitation to confirm your permanent residence. So let's understand who receives a passport request and who receives a portal invitation, what are the general steps involved in both, and what can you expect from the timelines. So in order to understand the difference between these two requests, you need to know which class of application you've applied under. Broadly speaking, there are two classes to choose from: family class, also known as an Outland application, or spouse or common law partner in Canada class, also known as an inland application. So generally, the family class or Outland applicants receive passport requests, and the spouse or common law partner in Canada class or inland applicants receive the portal invitation. Now, this is just a simple distinction, but obviously there are variations. For example, family class applicants or Outland applicants who are inside of Canada, when they receive a passport request, they will have to do this process differently because they're already inside Canada. Or the spouse or common law partner in Canada class applicants or inland applicants who may be outside of Canada, and they will receive a portal invitation which they will have to complete differently. So let's take a look at some common scenarios for both Outland and inland applicants and understand how you can complete these final requests for your application. We'll start with the basics and we'll proceed toward the more complicated cases. Let's begin. So first up is family class applicants outside of Canada. This is a very common case with Outland applications where the principal applicant applies for permanent residence from outside of Canada, and they are still outside of Canada while the application is being processed. And now in the final stages of the application, this principal applicant who is outside of Canada gets a passport request. So now the principal applicant submits their passport for stamping in their home country at their local visa application center. They get the passport back with a single entry stamp along with the COPR document or the confirmation of permanent resident document. And now the principal applicant usually has about 1 year, which is until the expiry of the medicals or the expiry of your passport, whichever is earlier, to travel to Canada to do their first landing and complete the permanent residence process. So this is what your passport request email is going to look like. It will most likely say ready for visa in the subject line. So that's the passport request email. It will have all your important details, the primary office, UCI, application number, name of the applicant. And if you scroll down, all instructions for what next steps you have to follow will be mentioned here. So if you look at step 2, passport requirements determine if you need to submit your passport. So if you need a visa for Canada, then you will have to submit your original passport. But if you need an ETA or an electronic travel authorization for Canada, then you will submit a photocopy. And as you can see, the instructions for both the processes are right here. And if you scroll down under step 3, prepare your documents, you will have a list of all the documents that you need to submit at your local visa application center in order to complete the stamping process. So these list of documents can be different for different applicants, so it's not always going to be the same. I'm just showing you the example. This is my wife's passport request email, but majority of them will be the same. So if you scroll down in part A, you will have instructions on submitting your package while overseas. So this is the case we are discussing, that the principal applicant is outside of Canada, so that's considered overseas, and then they will have to submit their passport. So you will have to do this process with VFS Global. It's a company which Government of Canada has partnered with, and it handles all these passport services and immigration services related to Canada. You can find your nearest visa application center in this website. This is the IRCC website. If you scroll down and simply enter your country, it's going to give you a list of all the visa application centers in your country in different cities. So you can simply book an appointment in that visa application center. If you click on any of these links, it's going to take you to the website of Visa Application Center. So once you're in the homepage of the VFS Global website of your country, you're simply going to click on Book an Appointment, scroll down, click on Online, click here, and then continue the process. Basically, you'll be asked to fill out some forms and pay the fees, and then you'll attach all those documents along with the documents that are mentioned in your passport request email, and then you'll simply submit your passport along with all those documents to the visa application center. A lot of these visa application centers these days have a pickup and delivery option. You can sign up for that with a slightly premium price, and then someone is going to pick up your package, take it, get it stamped, and deliver it back to you. And you can also prepare the package and drop it off yourself and then pick it up when it's ready. So depending on your visa application center, in your city and in your country, you can choose whatever service is available. So once you get your package back, you will have your stamped passport and your COPR document. Your COPR document will be valid either until the expiry of your medicals, which is usually 1 year, or until the expiry of your passport, whichever is earlier. In majority of the cases, it will be valid until the expiry of your medicals. So you will have to travel to Canada within the expiry period or before the expiry period. Once you travel and reach Canada, that's when you do your first landing, all the formalities, and that's when you become a permanent resident. Then your permanent resident card is going to be delivered to you at your local Canadian address in about 2 to 3 months. So for more details on this passport request email and next steps, I've shared all that in this video that should be showing up on the cards here, and it's linked in the description below. The process is specifically for Indian applicants who are outside of Canada, but the logic is going to apply to other countries as well. So definitely check that out for more details on this VFS process step. So from sending the passport for stamping and receiving it back along with your COPR document, it can take about a month or 2. Obviously, it depends from country to country or different visa application centers in the same country, but in majority of the cases, this process is pretty quick. So if there is a delay, then you can definitely get in touch with your visa application center in order to escalate. So if you applied under the spouse or common law partner in Canada class, meaning as an inland applicant, then you are not going to receive your passport request, you will be virtually landed instead. So you will have to confirm your permanent residence status using the permanent resident online portal. So this usually happens in 2 steps. So step 1, you will receive an email of approval of permanent residence from IRCC. It's going to look something like this. As it says here, your application for permanent residence has been approved. The final step in processing your application is to confirm your permanent residence. You'll complete this process through the permanent resident online portal. So if you scroll down in this email, there is a list of items here which basically they're requesting information for. So as you can see, name, UCI, email, entry date, are you currently inside Canada? If not, when is your expected return date? So we are talking about the applicants who are inside Canada. So this is going to apply to you. So what you'll have to do is fill all this information out for you and your family members if you have family members in your application, and simply reply back to this email. And all the instructions on how to reply back are also mentioned in this email. So go through this email carefully. So once they receive your information, they will send you another email with instructions to confirm your permanent residence using the online portal. So here's the permanent resident portal. You must have used this to submit your application. So if you simply scroll down and sign in using the account that you used to submit the application, so most likely principal applicant will do this. So this will be your application's homepage. And as you can see, there are 3 tabs here. But once they create a case for you to confirm your permanent residence, you will see another tab here. So there are 3 tabs already. You will see another tab that's going to say permanent residence confirmation. So that is the tab that they have created for you so that you can go inside and confirm your permanent residence. So if I can quickly take you to the confirming your permanent residence online page, this is their official page where they have given instructions on how you can confirm your permanent residence. So if you scroll down, as you can see, there is this tab permanent residence confirmation. So basically, this is the tab that you are going to see right next to these 2 tabs. Okay, it's going to start to appear there. So what you do is simply click that tab, and then you will have further instructions. So this will again be a 2-step process. First, you will confirm that you are in Canada. So as it says here, you'll confirm you're in Canada and provide an updated home or postal address. Step 2 would be to upload your photo. This photo is going to be used to make your PR card, which you'll get in your mail. And we'll get to the photo section in a second. But once you do this and submit, then they'll review it. And if they accept it, then they will initiate the virtual landing for you. Basically, you'll be put in the queue for virtual landing. And in some time, as a final step, they will send you your eCOPR. So this can also happen in 2 ways. They can either send you your eCOPR directly via email for you to download, or they can let you know that your eCOPR is ready to download from your permanent resident account. So basically, you log back again in your permanent resident portal in your account, go inside the tab again, and you will see the eCOPR ready to download. So simply download it, and you'll have to sign the second page, I guess. So sign and date it, and that will complete the process. That's when you will become a permanent resident. Now, if you don't have an account in the permanent resident portal, so let's say you submitted it on paper. Keep in mind, the on-paper application went away in September 2022. So right now I'm talking about people who might have submitted the application on paper before September 2022. Or let's say you are using an immigration representative, a licensed professional, who might have submitted the application for you using the representative permanent resident portal. So in that case, you may not have created your own account. So if that's the case, then IRCC will create an account for you in the permanent resident portal. If you look at the instructions, it even says it here. If we approve your application, we'll create an account for you. You can't create one yourself, and then send another email with your temporary account details. So basically they'll send you temporary login credentials. So in this case, you will use those temporary credentials to log in, and then you will be able to change your password, and then you'll do the same process. You'll confirm your permanent residence. You will declare that you're in Canada, you'll upload your photo, and then the same steps, waiting for ECOPR and then downloading it. So keep this in mind, even if you're working with an immigration representative who might have submitted the application for you using the representative portal, they cannot confirm that you are in Canada for you. You will have to do that. And that's where the temporary account details section comes in handy. So you are the one, meaning the principal applicant is the one who will ultimately confirm that they are in Canada. They are the one who will upload the photo, and then you will have to download your ECOPR. Okay. So work with your representative so that they can let you know once you receive this approval email. Because if you're working with a licensed professional, most likely the email for approval of permanent residence is going to go to your representative. So they have to let you know so that you can now do these steps to confirm your permanent residence. Now, a lot of my subscribers have told me that they got stuck at this stage of uploading the photo. So here are the instructions for uploading the photo. So go through them slowly and carefully. The only problem here is when you click on photo requirements, as you can see, there are instructions for both front and back of the photo. And this is where a lot of people get confused. So while this instruction holds good when you are doing your initial submission of the application, when you're applying for permanent residence, these instructions don't really hold true when you are confirming your permanent residence. So for this step, for confirming your permanent residence, you don't have to upload the back of the photo. Also, from what I remember my subscribers telling me, the portal only has one slot. So you can't really upload the front and back. You will only have to upload the front, and that's fine. You don't really have to worry about the back. Simply make sure that the front of the photo adheres to the instructions that are given here, and simply upload that. So again, instructions are here, and there are multiple ways to get the photo done. You can have it done professionally. A lot of people use shoppers or staples. So go with whatever you like and see if you can make it work. You can even do this yourself. So basically you can just use your smartphone or your camera to take a decent photo with proper lighting against the white background, and then crop it so that it fits the frame of the portal, and then try uploading it. Obviously it's going to take a little bit of trial and error to make it right, but it eventually happens. Or you can even do this online. So this website, passportphoto.online, a lot of people seem to be recommending this. A few of my subscribers have used this. Basically what you do is you take your smartphone or camera and you take a proper photo with lighting and white background and all that stuff, and you simply upload it here. Or if you have a recent photo already, you can just upload it there. And what they'll do is they will prepare your photo in adherence with the instructions of the online portal. Obviously, they'll charge you a small amount of fee. So they'll prepare your photo and give it back to you. And then you can try uploading that photo in the permanent resident confirmation case in your online portal. As long as you submit it correctly, as long as the portal accepts it, you should be fine. Now, sometimes what can happen is you've tried everything, but the portal just doesn't seem to accept your photo. You will then have an option to submit it anyway. So now you can still submit it, but it's a risk because it might still get rejected. A lot of people submit it anyway, even if the portal gives you an error, and it gets accepted. But a lot of people end up getting the photo rejected as well. So my recommendation would be to make the best attempt to match the requirements of the online portal so that you don't have to submit it with this fear that it may get rejected, right? So after uploading your photo and confirming your permanent residence, it can take up to 2 months before you get your ECOPR ready for download. For some people, it can even happen in a day. For some people, it takes 2 days, 3 days, sometimes even a week. But some people even end up waiting for 2 months, sometimes even more. So don't panic when you hear other applicants getting their ECOPRs and you're still waiting. It will happen eventually, happens for everyone, just the timelines are different. So let's say you applied as an Outland applicant or a family class applicant, but right now, at this stage of your application, you are inside of Canada. So maybe during the processing of your application, you managed to come to Canada on a TRV, or let's say you were always in Canada, but you chose to apply under family class. A lot of people do that also. So because you applied as an Outland applicant under family class, you may still receive the passport request. But in this case, since you're already inside Canada, you won't have to submit your passport for stamping. you will be virtually landed instead. So again, this is the ready for visa email or the passport request, which is usually sent to the family class applicants. We already talked about this. But if you scroll down here in the passport request email, in part B, as you can see, there are instructions for if the principal applicant is already in Canada. So it says here, if you are in Canada, you are not required to submit your passport and will be landed virtually. So you'll have to raise a web form and communicate this to your visa office that this is your UCI, this is your name, and you are currently in Canada at this particular address. With all these details, you will raise a web form. And if you're looking for instructions on how to raise a web form, that video is right here. It's linked in the description below. So check it out. So you can find your visa office at the top of this letter. As it says here, primary office is Ottawa. So for this particular application, the visa office was Ottawa. It could be different for different applications. So locate your visa office and then you'll have to select that visa office when you are raising a web form. So once they receive your information, they will switch you to virtual landing. And the rest of the steps are the same as we discussed in inland applicants. They will basically create a portal request for you. You will either have to sign in using your temporary credentials that they will provide, or you may already have an account in the online portal and they will simply create a separate tab for permanent residence confirmation. So basically they'll create a case for you. You simply click on that and you confirm that you're in Canada, you upload your photo and that's it. Then you will get your ECOPR ready for download in a few days. Now, if you applied under the spouse or common law partner in Canada class or as an inland applicant, and you were inside of Canada during the whole time, but let's say during the final stages of your application, you decided to travel outside of Canada. So let's assume you're currently outside of Canada and you get the PR approval email. So again, this is the PR approval email that we talked about. And if you scroll down, again, it's going to ask you for a few details. But as you can see, there is a section here that asks if you are not inside Canada, when is your expected return date? So as we talked about, the principal applicant is not in Canada right now. They were an inland applicant, but they traveled outside of Canada during the final stages of the application. So currently you are outside of Canada and you've received this email. So when you respond back to this email, you will have to let them know that you are not currently inside Canada. And then you'll have to let them know your expected return date. So then what's going to happen is they will push your virtual landing to that date. Basically, you won't be able to complete the permanent residence confirmation until you are inside Canada. Now keep in mind that for the virtual landing to happen successfully, for you to complete your permanent residence using the portal and upload your photo and submit your case, you have to be inside of Canada. So I'm bringing this up because a lot of people seem to be confused about this step. Sometimes people even think that because we are outside of Canada and we are expected to travel back to Canada really soon, why not we just tell them that we are inside Canada? At least that will help us complete the PR process and we'll get our ECOPR. So it's not recommended. Don't do that. If you are not in Canada, don't tell them that you are in Canada just to complete the process. First of all, it's a wrong declaration and it can get you in trouble when you actually try to come to Canada. Also, remember that once you become a PR, meaning once you get your ECOPR, you will become a permanent resident and all your other visas will be voided. So let's say you have an ETA or any other temporary visa which allows you to travel back to Canada, it's all going to be voided and you're not really going to be able to use your ECOPR to travel. So when you try to travel to Canada with your ECOPR, you might get questioned that why did you confirm that you are in Canada when you were not? So save yourself this trouble and cross-questioning. Just tell them that you're not in Canada so that they can push your virtual landing date to a future date. And when you're back in Canada, then you can simply confirm your permanent residence the right way and then get your ECOPR and complete your process. Now, once you start your journey in Canada, one of the first things that you'd want to do is to apply for a social insurance number, a very important document. All details on how to apply for that in this video right here. I'll catch you there.